The first thing you'll do is to use a screwdriver to remove the hubcap, the E-clip and washer, and the entire wheel assembly. Simply lay them aside out of the way. The next thing you will need will be a snap ring pliers to remove the O-clip or snap ring that is on the end of the reel shaft, the pinion gear, and the pawl. Notice the flat side of the pawl is facing up and toward the reel. When you take it off, it must go back on the same way. To the end of this shaft, you will attach your drill and the chuck. Simply align the hole with the hole that the pawl had been in. Take the compound and, using the brush provided, paint compound on each knife. When you've gotten lapping compound on all 6 blades, then it's time to hold the reel with one hand, or have a helper hold the reel, and with the other hand firmly hold the drill and the reel, and begin turning the reel in the reverse direction so that the 6 blades of the reel contact the bed knife and sharpen all 7 knives at the same time against each other. This will bring into uniformity all 7 knives so that they make very light contact while mowing. The speed should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 to 400 RPM, just a judgment thing. If you go too fast, you'll notice the compound begins to fly off the reel and makes a real mess. But if you run slowly, after just a few minutes of running the reel, you'll notice that the compound begins to spread evenly across all of the knives and has changed from a black color to a light gray color. The grayness of this compound is caused from small amounts of metal that have been lapped off of all 7 knives and are now embedded in the compound. This does not stop the compound from working, and you will notice as you have begun that the reel will start turning easier as time progresses. This is also because of metal having been removed from all 7 knives, creating a little less contact between the bed knife and the 6 knives of the reel. This is normal, and this is what should happen. If that contact becomes too light, then you will need your 9/16 inch wrench. What you will do is loosen what would be the top nut on the bolt, and then tighten the second nut just a small amount. You notice I only went about 1/6 of a turn, and re-snug the top. This shoves the back edge of the bed knife down and the front edge up into the reel, making more contact between the two, so that now you again have pressure between and you're ready to go back to sharpening. This must be, however, done on both ends of the reel equally. If you go 1/6 of a turn on the right side of the reel, you must also on the left side go 1/6 of a turn. so that the bed knife is not in a bind between the two sides. And again, go ahead and at a slow rate of speed, under 400 RPM, lap the reel until you can wipe the compound off of the cutting edge and begin noticing that the cutting face nearest the bed knife has begun to lap, and it changes from either a rusted on an older mower to a burnished edge rather than a ground edge. We will reassemble. Simply remove the screw from the chuck and reinsert it in the chuck. Lay it aside. Again, the pawl with the flat side up and near facing the reel. The pinion gear, if you have grease at this point, a small amount of grease inserted in and rotated, the excess wiped into the groove of the snap ring. Then the snap ring reinserted onto the shaft. To check to see, the pinion should rotate away from the bed knife, but should drive the reel into the bed knife. Again, it can be rotated away, but it drives the bed knife into the reel into the bed knife. Next, a small amount of grease in the bearing and on the axle. Place the wheel on the axle. Washer back on the axle and E-clip in its retaining slot and snapped in place. And last, hubcap popped on. At this point, you would want to check to be certain that the reel is now able to cut paper. This is simply copy paper that's been cut into strips. And as you rotate by hand, the reel should be able to cut the paper without any difficulty all the way to the tip of the reel, you'll notice, which indicates that the reel is as sharp as it can be and properly adjusted.